welcome. So I got a message from my guides today that I think can be very helpful, and it's my hope that it can assist you on your journey too. So what I was first explaining was that the energies now, as we know, are coming in more and more often, like these energy waves that we are experiencing. We have been used to there being an energy wave, and we integrate and we process something, and then there's some time, and then there's a new one coming. But now it's like it's speeding up, and it keeps speeding up because every wave of energy now is stronger, contains more of this higher frequency, and it like we can't hold back. We have to move, because what is happening is that we are bringing more of our own light, our own consciousness into our bodies and embodying, like I've been talking about in some other videos, and that helps us in being able to bring in these energies, to ground these energies that are coming, and to make use of them. And by resisting it, and by not paying attention to what's going on and being present with yourself, and making those changes, or basically being present with what's happening in your life and what you're feeling, pushed to. What does your intuition say? If we're holding back from that, and we're resisting it, that's going to be more and more difficult, and it's going to create more and more challenges for us if we do that. And also the integration, the processing of things that might be stirred up is going so much more quickly than it used to, a few years back. And that is because we're holding more of our light, we're holding higher frequencies in our bodies. We have more tools, and the more we can feel our own guidance, our own intuition, our own higher self, the more connected in we are, the easier it is to navigate these things. And of course, the more compassion and love we hold for ourselves and give ourselves space, and honor our boundaries, and dare to open up for who we are, and to embrace that, the more easier it becomes. So what my guides said today is that we are these vibes of energies, there will soon be another one coming, and they will be coming quite frequently the next months. And they asked me, what advice would you give yourself now? Or what advice would you give your former self now, with the knowledge you have, and the experiences you've had, and what you now know? So if you look back to a point before you awakened, before you started shifting, what advice would you give yourself now, if you could give an advice to that version of yourself? And really sit with that. And then, when I had been reflecting a bit on this, they said, how about you give yourself that advice now? Because the very thing that tends to hold us back, or that tends to make us maybe make a decision that is not fully aligned, or not dare to do anything or distract ourselves from something, tends to be a core challenge of ours, and we're meeting it in spirals. It goes in circles. And so even though so much has shifted, that advice that you would give yourself at that time is probably a good advice to give yourself in the next couple of months, 3 months, with these energy waves. Because if you can follow that advice from that loving place, because you know what you've been through, you know how much you've grown, you know what it took, you know the fears you had at that point, you know why you know so much more why you were in that position or in that situation that you were. And you can give that version of yourself an advice out of what you now see, what you now have experienced, what you now know, and also with love for knowing what fears and what challenges that version of yourself actually had to face and had to go through. And so those things that you then have, that you have overcome from you were in that version of yourself, can you now look at the core of what you would tell that version? What advice would you give? And give yourself that advice now and follow it, because that's probably an advice that comes from your future self or your higher self. No matter what you like, or how you want to frame it, because there's all these potentials that we can become, and we so often have the same sort of pattern, even though we're growing, even though we're expanding, we're integrating. There are some core things that tend to follow us or be sort of like the essence of what we are learning to overcome and learning to move forward with, instead of letting it stop us, and to really learning to master that. And that can be very different things for different people. But those core, I don't want to say issues, but core topics, let's say, in your life, have a look at them and see that version of yourself that you were, and give yourself an advice, and then look at how would that advice help me now. And when you are in the midst of the energies coming in, how can that advice help you to grow, move through it, and to expand with the energies coming in? Because that's what we're doing. We're expanding, we're rising our consciousness. And no one can give a better advice to you than your intuition, your higher self, your own light and consciousness. And you hold that knowledge within you. And for me, when my guys asked me these things today, it helped me also to see things in a bit different perspective, because it's so easy to see things from this perspective, like the current now moment, the present moment with the challenges and the awesomeness, like all of what my life holds in this exact moment, and then look at what I'm intending to create, and look at what's the gap in between, what do I need to do, what do I and focus from that point. But if we look at what we would say to that version that we have been, and really know how much we've grown, how much we have accomplished, how much we have faced, how much we have learned about ourselves, how much better we know ourselves now. And we also most probably have seen that our fears have been looking bigger than what they actually were, or that it wasn't, the worst case scenario that we can maybe create and focus a lot on. We have maybe experienced that it doesn't have to be like that. So really to look at that and take that advice now and use that to move forward. It shifted a bit of the perspective as well, so I think it can be a helpful couple of questions to sit with, and to look at your current growth in a bit of a different perspectives and connecting in with yourself. So I hope it's helpful for you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments how you're receiving the messages, what you're going through, what you're experiencing. Really love the engagement in that whenever you feel that you want to share. I wish you a really beautiful day, and looking forward to see you in the next video. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.